over there, just for alleged blasphemy. So, looks like my phone just said something about a new file is starting. So, okay. I don't know. I guess I don't have unlimited time on this video clip. So that was the brick kiln site. And the funny thing is I took a picture of myself with Amjad and Asim and the brick kiln owner, the Muslim owner. Nazia refused to be in the picture because she knows how these people really are. She didn't want to be in a picture with the owner. So, and she's a Muslim. So God bless her. I respect that. So we took a picture with him, and he said, after translating into English, that he was very proud because he kept his employees out there clean, and he tried to keep the site as clean as he could, which it's a dirt pile. But anyway, he was very proud of this. And you know why? He says because it's part of our religion of Islam to be clean. I didn't laugh, but I'm thinking that's all you can say. That's all you can say is you're proud that you keep your employees clean. Okay, I'll just let you chew on that one. I was not impressed. But anyway, so that was our brick kiln experience. And by that time, the day was, sun was about to set and it was late. So we got in the car and drove all the way back to Faisalabad. We stopped at a sugarcane thing they had on the roadside. A couple guys use sugarcane, and they make this thing called gul. And I didn't have any because it's pure sugar, and I'm trying to stay off of sugar, but my friends bought some for their families and things. But that was kind of interesting to see how they make this stuff. And then we drove all the way back to Faisalabad, which took another, hour and a half or so, and it got dark, and we got back to the hotel and had our hot showers, and a wonderful dinner again at the barbecue outside at the hotel. We could count on that. It was fabulous. And the next day, which was Monday, we went over to Sobia's in-laws' house, which is where she lives, and she prepared a program. This is the third time I walked in, and all the people were throwing rose petals at me and dancing and singing, and it was wonderful. And she had a microphone with a little stage and the chairs set up just like the other two villages. It was wonderful, very hospitable and welcoming. We had lunch there, and Pastor Shabazz showed up again and gave a little sermon in Urdu. Nazia translated everything. I got up on stage and I got to meet her 15 widows that she helps with rations every month. And I got to meet a bunch of the children in her neighborhood that do Sunday school there at her house. That was a fabulous experience. And they were showering me with gifts. I mean, a shalwar kameez and shoes and flowers. It was just beautiful. I brought them all money and some gifts from the United States, but they were still showering me with gifts. It was crazy. I was so grateful and appreciative for that. Very hospitable, very sweet people, and I was so happy to meet her parents for the first time, and they were all Christians. They're all Christians. They tend to lean towards Pentecostal theology, but that's fine. What they're doing is following Christ by loving one another, and they're trying to fill spiritual and physical needs of their fellow brothers and sisters in Christ in their neighborhood. And I just think that's awesome. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to help these people, and they're trying their best. So after that, Nazia and I got into Nazia's car, and we said goodbye to Faisalabad and checked out the hotel. We drove a couple hours east to Lahore, which is a big city as well, and it's not nearly as dusty and dirty as Faisalabad. It's more civilized, to be honest with you, because her daughter turned 29 that day, Misha. So we got to hang out with her daughter and her son and their spouses and her grandkids, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience being with these people. I loved them. We had a little packy barbecue outside, and with the spicy meats, and my favorite. And we hung out there until probably past midnight, and then we finally went to a Methodist hostel where we stayed for 2 nights in Lahore, which was interesting. So Pakistan has churches and things, but again, they're very closely watched and monitored, and the Christians are not that well accepted by everybody else, but they have churches there. She told me they even have a Bible museum in Lahore, which is cool. We didn't have time to see that, but we ran around Lahore, and that's when I got to do the vacation part, where I got to see the second biggest mosque in Pakistan is in Lahore. Oh my God, this place is phenomenally huge. And we went at night, so everything was lit up. Wow, it was phenomenal. They have an old walled city in Lahore, it's beautiful. And everything was so lit up, and they have these rooftop restaurants. So we had dinner up there in one of these rooftop restaurants, and it was wonderful. It was beautiful, fabulous. Such a nice time. We did a little bit of souvenir shopping. They had a market down there, and it was just wonderful. And we had a nice lunch earlier that day too at an open air restaurant. So yeah, the weather was not bad. Faisalabad was actually kind of hot. I was surprised for February. Lahore was more moderate. So we spent a day and a half, I would say, in Lahore. And at the Methodist hostel, and we were having breakfast, getting ready to leave and check out, we ran into I want to say a bishop. Oh boy, this is terrible. I don't remember. I have to look at my notes, but it was kind of cool. We ran into a couple of high-ranking Christians that were there visiting and doing some business, with the church, with their churches. That was kind of neat. But then we piled into the vehicle and drove, 3 hours, I think, from Lahore up to Islamabad. And in Islamabad, I stayed at Nazia's house. God bless her soul for her hospitality. Beautiful house. And she showed me where she works, which was awesome. Because again, they advocate for minority rights, and it was just a phenomenal experience. So in Islamabad, she and her boss took me all around the city. We went to see the Faisal Mosque, which is the biggest mosque in Pakistan, and that was just crazy huge. I think it's Wahhabi though, Wahhabi based, because it's from the Saudis built it. So you can make the assumption that they teach the Wahhabi doctrine, which, if you know anything about Islam, the Wahhabi doctrine is extremely conservative, traditional, on the extreme side. We'll just put it that way. And I don't know, Muslims may or may not agree, but I think most would agree that they're pretty extreme. So that's kind of sad. But anyway, so we got to see that. And it was in Islamabad that, my friend got the phone call about his Christian friend who had been stabbed to death that morning and thrown into a pond for being too vocal about the plight of Christians in Pakistan. So the best part of going to Islamabad, of course, besides seeing my friends, that's always the best, they took me to a sector of the capital called 100 Quarters. And I guess because originally I think they told me it was just 100 quarters for Christians that were poor, but now it's like 1,000 families living there. They're crammed in this place. It's a slum, and it's all Christians that live in this slum. But here's the funny thing. Literally across the street, are these multi-million rupee homes owned by the Muslims there, wealthy Muslims. And they took a nice long video of me walking through this slum area and narrating. So that was wonderful. So I have that available. I think I may have posted it. If not, I'll post it on my blog as well so you can see it. But it was an appalling experience. We spent a couple hours just walking through the 100 Quarters Christian slum. I've never seen so much trash in my life, and kids and everybody playing. It was like they're living in a landfill and playing in a landfill. They had quarters, they had places, with doors and walls, but they didn't have clean water. They had to go out and get bottled water every day from somewhere. Again, people would try to get money from selling plastic recyclables or driving rickshaws or whatever. Of course, the funny thing is most people had a cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone, and a lot of them did have these motorbikes because that's how Pakistanis get around for the most part. And we did see across the street a small school, if you will. It was out in the open in the grass, and there was a lady out there, maybe two, who who were teaching street children. And I mean, that was their school, is right here just in a little park. I mean, I have to give them credit for doing something, but come on, I mean, this is the best we can come up with. So they were just giving them the basics of a little bit of reading and writing, and that was about it. But yeah, that 100 Quarters community, you have to watch the video that they sent me of that to get a true appreciation for how Christians are treated there, and the circumstances in which they're surviving. I wouldn't say living. They're not thriving, that's for sure. It's surviving. We went inside a couple of their homes. They did have a small Baptist church in there, I think 2 actually, in the community, which is great. But outside of that, it's, I'll be honest, I was anxious to get out of there and, take a shower and brush my teeth, because it's filthy. And just to think that people are living in the midst of this is criminal. It's just very, very sad. I've seen these things in pictures. We've all seen pictures of this stuff. Yeah, okay, more poor people. I got it. But once it doesn't compare to, it doesn't do justice to walking through it yourself and meeting these people yourself. Seeing a picture is not the same thing, believe me. I don't know how to articulate what that made me think and how it made me feel. So anyway, so that's Islamabad. Nazia took me to a wedding in Islamabad. That was cool. We got lucky. Her son's best friend got married, so we got to get all gussied up and dressed up, and it was not the wedding, it was the wedding party, because in a lot of these countries, weddings take 3 days. This was the most fun night, according to her, which is the wedding party, and they planned this for months. I mean, all the wedding party attendees would get up and they did dance routines. So they were rehearsing this for a long time. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And the beautiful gowns and outfits. Oh my goodness. I just love the colors, that the ladies were wearing. It was beautiful. Very, very interesting experience. And of course, more Pakistani food, which is my favorite. So it was good stuff. Now so I had to say goodbye on Saturday because my flight home was on Sunday morning. And so on Saturday, we had to get me back down to Faisalabad, because that's where my flight was leaving out of, not Islamabad. It's a 4-hour drive. So Nazia had been, God bless her soul, had been with me the whole week. Wonderful week. And yes, we got to do some shopping and going out, and we did. It was great. But on Saturday, unfortunately, her sister had a serious medical problem that landed her in the hospital. So Nazia, of course, wanted to be there with her. So the poor woman drove me probably an hour through Islamabad over to Pindi, crazy traffic in Pindi, and took me to the Daewoo bus station. And I paid, get this, $5 $5, maybe 4, but it was 5 maximum for a bus ticket, 4-hour bus ride all the way to Faisalabad. It was only $5. It was awesome. So we made sure we got my ticket, and she called the Serena Hotel in Faisalabad and said, Miss Angela is going to arrive at the bus station down there at about 5:45 p.m. We need you to come pick her up and take her to the hotel. Okay, fine. Okay, so everything was coordinated. So we hugged and said our goodbyes and everything, and I had my 2 big suitcases and my backpack, because like I say, I was leaving the country the next day. This was it. I got on the bus, which was fine. It was a Daewoo bus, had the curtains, very nice. There was a young man serving water, and it was very comfortable. Maybe there were 10 of us on this whole bus. It was great. The ride down there was fine. We had a couple rest stops. It was actually an okay ride. It was when I got there and things kind of fell apart. So the bus pulls into the Faisalabad bus station, and the whole time I'm like, oh Lord, here we are back in Faisalabad, with the crazy traffic and the motorbikes and the craziness, the rickshaws and the dirt and the dust and and here we are. And I had gotten a bronchial infection in the middle of that week, a combination of weather changes, airplane air, dirt and dust in the air, and maybe I contracted something from my coworkers because one of them had a bronchial thing, who knows. So I was struggling with coughing and coughing and coughing. I'm like, oh, this is not good. We get into Faisalabad, and the bus finally goes to the bus station, pulls in, and I'm looking around for the hotel bus, the transportation to take me to the hotel, right? And I had no idea. I didn't see anybody. My luck. And it's 6 o'clock at night. The sun is setting. It's getting dark. I get out. I've got my two big old suitcases, and one of them's covered with flowers, right? So here I am, the white American woman with a flowery suitcase, and then another big black and white suitcase, a flowery backpack. I stuck out like a sore thumb with all these Pakistanis running around, getting off buses, going here, going there. And I'm like, where is the hotel driver? How am I going to get there? Because there's not like a taxi stand over there. There's not. What am I going to do? Get on a motorbike? I could, and maybe I could ride a rickshaw, but I didn't see like a line of rickshaws where you could go like rent one or pay somebody to, I didn't see that. And I don't speak Urdu. So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. So, I took out my backpack and I found the hotel, the phone number for the hotel. My phone had been working fine in Pakistan. I had it set up through Verizon Travel Pass. You pay $10 per day. You can use the phone in that country and you can use it to call the United States. And I tested it 4 times and it worked fine all week. I called the United States 3 times, maybe 4. And then I called a number in Pakistan once or twice to test it and it worked perfectly. It didn't work when I was at that bus station. I tried to call the hotel and it wouldn't go through. I got a recording in Urdu. I couldn't understand, but I just knew it was bad because it wouldn't go through. So now I'm starting to feel uncomfortable because it's getting dark and here I am in the middle of Pakistan by myself. And I'll be honest, I was a little uncomfortable at that point. So I'm trying to call and I'm freaking out because I didn't know what to do. And I'm trying to call friends on my WhatsApp, but I had no internet. Nothing would go through. I couldn't use WhatsApp. I couldn't use the cell service. I don't know if it was a dead spot there at that bus station or what the deal was because my phone worked perfectly the whole rest of the week before this day. I don't know why it chose to stop that day. So in betwixt and between all that, I walked over to what looked like a security kiosk, and of course nobody was there. And an elderly gentleman approached me, asked me in English, thank God, if I needed help. I said, yeah. So he used his cell phone, and even he tried calling Serena, and they would get cut off. They'd get disconnected. So he had to keep calling back. And the hotel tried to call me once on the phone. It went through, but as soon as I picked up, we got disconnected. There was just something wrong with that spot. But he got through, and it took 3 or 4 times of calling them, and we got different employees every time pick up the phone at the hotel, and they kept telling us a different story. The first one was, oh, we don't have a reservation for her for transportation. I mean, we have a room, but we don't have a transportation request. Oh my gosh, which is not true. So I had to fix that. And then another lady said, well, we don't pick up this late at night. I'm like, it's only like 6:15 p.m. Really? And then somebody else said something like, well, the guy, he's on his way. And so I didn't know whether to believe that or not. But anyway, in between all that, I finally got through on WhatsApp using cell service. I don't know how that worked, but I finally got through to another local Pakistani that I knew only through social media. His name is Harris. And I begged him. I said, can you come get me? Because I'm stuck at the bus station. And he said he would be there very soon. Well, right at that time, that gentleman, his wife showed up, so they left. And I said, he said, I think that Serena guy's on his way. I said, yeah, okay, I'll just wait. But I was worried, because now it's dark. And I didn't know if Harris was going to be there or Asma and Sabia don't have a car. So, and I didn't want to bother them, although they were going to meet me at the hotel anyway. And they ended up taking an Uber, which I didn't even know they have Uber in Faisalabad, for God's sake. Had I known that, I just would have, well, I don't have, it wouldn't have worked. And my Uber app wouldn't work international. Or maybe it does. I don't know. I got to find that out. So anywho, the Serena guy, another young man and 2 girls, probably his sisters, approached me. And he was very nice. He said, ma'am, do you need help? In really good English. And I said, no. I did about half an hour ago. But I said, I think I'm good now. The hotel's supposed to be here to pick me up, so I think I'm okay. Thank you. So he was very nice, and then they left. But I'll be honest with you, the Serena guy finally showed up, and he was, interesting looking character. And he had a little sign, Serena, Miss Angela. I says, yeah, that's me. I saw his little name tag, and I'm like, what happened? Because I was there for 45 minutes waiting for him, and it was dark. And he told me, oh, somebody called before you, like 15 minutes, and I had to go pick up, and the hotel is full. Everybody's checking in, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. And I says, well, it's a shame because a lady tried to call me once, probably to tell me this, but we got cut off, but she didn't try to call me back. But I guess they were so busy, and everybody was just so busy. So I was just happy to get the heck out of there, to be honest with you, because it is disturbing. It's not like being in New York, you can just hop in a taxi cab and go. Believe me, unfortunately, it's not like that. You're kind of stuck. So I got into his car, his very nice, normal hotel car, and got back to the hotel, and Asim and Sabia were already there. And they met me there, so I took them to the Packy barbecue dinner again outside the hotel there in the courtyard. It was beautiful. And that was the only time that I had with just the two of them. So we had dinner, and then we said our goodbyes. And Sunday morning, the same driver took me to the Faisalabad airport. And the funny thing about the Faisalabad airport, for such a big city, it's a real small airport. It's like one terminal, just really, you can't get lost in there. It's really small. So he dropped me off there, and I had my two big old suitcases in my backpack, and there were 5 checkpoints in that airport. 5. So, I mean, I'm including the ticket counter. There are 5 stops, I should say, in the airport. I've never seen Morocco was the only one that was worse than that. So I went in, and one guy, was going through my passport, and he wanted to see my boarding pass. I says, it's an e-ticket. I don't have a paper boarding pass. I haven't been to the ticket counter yet. So he told me to go on my phone and show him the reservation on my phone. I'm like, so I opened up my phone, and there was no Wi-Fi. Once again, I had no Wi-Fi. I couldn't, and I couldn't access my email. It wouldn't pull up the older emails. I learned a lot of lessons from this trip about not relying on my phone for a lot of these things. I have to print things more. I did print some things, but I didn't print enough, evidently. So next time, print everything. He finally just waved me through, because I showed him. I said, I can't, so he waved me through. That was the first one. Then I'm lugging all my bags, and pulling them. I ended up at the customs desk, right? And there was a lady wearing her customs uniform, very official, and she immediately glommed onto my black and white suitcase that happened to be full of all my souvenirs. Not the one that had all my clothes in it. No, she had to pick the souvenirs one. So she unzips it and opens it to inspect it. And guess what I had right on top? Not one, but 2 Bibles. And you may not be familiar with why I'm laughing about this. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Because I had my Bible in there first. The NIV Study Bibles is a nice big thick Bible, my favorite one. And then right next to it, I had a Bible that my friends gave me as a gift. It's in Urdu. So she became and remember, this is a Muslim country, and they have a lot of laws against blasphemy and against Islam and things like this. They persecute Christians for the most part. So you can imagine how this went down. So she's looking at me, she's looking at my suitcase, and she ruffled through the other stuff in there. And I just told her those are souvenirs, I was here for vacation and everything, visiting friends. And of course she had to pick up my Bible, the one in English. And she spoke a little bit of English, but she picked it up, and she's flipping through it, just taking her time. And I'm sitting there thinking, ooh, good, we should read it. Maybe you should read it. But she's just flipping through it like she was just curious, like she'd never seen one in real life, So she's flipping and flipping and flipping. Then she hands it to her colleague, a man, all gussied in his customs uniform, and he's doing the same thing. He's just like flipping through it like, what is this? I mean, they knew what it was. And then they kind of put that one back in my suitcase. And then they saw the other one. And it was written in Urdu. It is written in Urdu, the gift. So she picked that one up, and she's looking at it. And then she hands it to him like real excited. Just like, look at this, look at this. And I'm just standing there going, what in the world? I'm never going to get out of this country. I'm going to be stuck here forever. They're going to throw me in jail because I have 2 Bibles in my suitcase? I mean, what the heck? Because they weren't telling me anything. They were just like looking at my Bibles. And he looked at the one in Urdu and he looked at me and he goes, "This one's in Urdu." I said, "Yeah, I'm aware of that." He says, "You speak Urdu?" I said, "No." "Well, why do you have a Bible in Urdu?" I says, "It was a gift." He says, "You gave this as a gift?" I said, "No, it was a gift to me." "But you don't speak Urdu." I said, "I know I don't speak Urdu, but but it was just a gift from a friend. He gave it to me. I don't know why, but it was just a gift from him. And but you don't speak Urdu." I says, we were going in circles, you know. I said, "I know I don't speak Urdu." "Well, then why do you have this Bible?" I'm like, "Oh, jeez." Okay, for the 3rd time. It was a gift from a friend. And so he was just looking at it, looking at me, just kind of doing this, you know, and he was flipping through it. And then finally he makes a comment, "You know, you should put this in carry-on in my backpack," you know. And what he meant was he couldn't believe that I had a holy book, not one, but 2 holy books, the English Bible and the Urdu Bible, in my checked bag. Because in Islam, the Quran, of course, is the most highly revered text. And that book, you would never shove that into a checked bag. I mean, you would carry that thing, raise it up, revere it, you know, kiss it, love it, respect it. You would carry the Quran on board with you. You don't shove it into a... So he was, and I know that, so he was really shocked that I had put 2 Bibles in my checked bag. And he was trying to tell me in broken English that I should carry them on in my backpack. I didn't want to argue with him, but I just told him the truth. I said, "My backpack is really full." And it was. It was stuffed with things. And so he was thinking, "Well, I guess your Bible is not your priority. It's not important enough to put in your backpack. You're putting it..." Oh my gosh. So I was getting a little uncomfortable because he was obviously a little bit perturbed, a little bit upset, you know, and you have to be careful with these officials, obviously. So, but I was getting annoyed too. I mean, you know, it's really none of your business how I packed my suitcase. So anyway, we're standing there wasting all this time. And I finally reached my hand across my suitcase to him. And I said, "I understand, sir, but now may I have my Bible back?" The one he was holding in Urdu. And he very gingerly, kind of hesitantly handed it back to me. I immediately put it back in the suitcase, and I zipped everything up, took my bag, put it back on the floor, and I told both of them, "Y'all have a very nice day. Have a great day. Thank you very much." And I wheeled my bags along, you know, and just wanted to get away from them as quickly as I could because I felt like a little bit of harassment almost, you know. So that was that checkpoint. And then I get to the ticket counter finally. And the guy was wonderful. He got my reservation, gave me my boarding pass. That was really quick and easy. Then I had one more passport checkpoint, I think. I think that was the 4th one. And then the last one cracked me up the most because it was the immigration guy. So I had to show him, of course, again, my passport with the e-visa and everything. And he was asking me all these questions. A young guy, cute guy, all in his official uniform. And he's, you know, I'm like, he's not going to let me out of the country. Why? You know, what did I do now? And he was just taking forever. And then all of a sudden, in broken English, he asks me for my phone number, my personal phone number. So I thought it was an official thing. And he even gave me a white piece of paper, blank piece of paper to write it down here. And I didn't know. I thought it was an official thing. He needed it for, I don't know, to get out of the country. I had no idea because his English was, you know, it wasn't that great. So I didn't really understand what he was trying to do. So like an idiot, I wrote my cell number on that piece of paper. And then I realized, why am I writing it on this blank sheet of paper? That's not official looking, but it was too late. He took it and he said, "Can I save this in my phone?" I said, "What?" Then I realized he was hitting on me. He was making a pass at me. Unbelievable. And my friend Nazia warned me about all this. She says, "Watch these Pakistani men." The guy on the bus to Faisalabad hit on me too, because I was by myself and he wanted my number and all these things, young guy. So this dude, you know, works for the Foreign Intelligence Agency of Pakistan as an immigration official, young guy. And I'll be danged if the very next day, actually that same day when I was in Dubai on my layover, he was WhatsApping me. He found me on WhatsApp and he's WhatsApping me, messaging me, saying, oh, I like to talk to foreigners and I don't get to see foreigners that often or Westerners. And it's just really fun to chit chat and blah, blah, blah. And I sent him a few messages and then I said, you know what? It's best that I block you. I'm sorry. So I blocked him because he works for it's just not a safe thing on all levels. He works for foreign intelligence. I'm sorry, but it's just, there's various reasons to block him. So I did. Very strange experience. So anyway, I finally got through all that and got to the gate. Good grief. And I got on my little plane and flew to Dubai. And in Dubai, my dear friend Hadil set me up with a guy named Raymond, who's a Lebanese Christian, by the way, who lives there now with his family. And I paid him X amount of dollars in advance. And he took me for like 10 hours. It was wonderful. He took me around Dubai, gave me the one-day speed tour. So I got to see the Burj Khalifa and the dancing fountains with the music and the market and the Dubai Mall and all these fabulous things. He took me everywhere he could in that short time span. It was fabulous, fabulous. I didn't buy any gold there because I bought some 21 karat gold in Pakistan. So I didn't want to spend any more money in Dubai. So I just got some other little souvenirs. But Dubai was such an opposite experience from Pakistan. I mean, it was like leaving Faisalabad, and I'm not saying Islamabad and Lahore because they're much better than Faisalabad, but leaving Faisalabad and then going to Dubai was like, I'm sorry, it's like from hell to heaven. It was just, a very, very poor, impoverished city, very poor and dirty. And then going to Dubai, where it's tolerant. People were wearing anything you can imagine there, all different nationalities, all different religions. It was clean. Oh my God, I couldn't believe how clean Dubai is. And the money is outrageous in Dubai, the wealth, the sheikhs and everything. And so Raymond is wonderful, and I had a great time. And that one day in Dubai, I wouldn't mind going back for a week or two and doing some more exploration there. And I got on my plane at 2 in the morning, and that was a 14 and a half hour flight from Dubai to Washington Dulles Airport. And it was an okay flight too, on Emirates, had no complaints. Got back, and my friend Glenn picked me up at the airport and came home and saw my son, saw my dogs, and unpacked everything. And jet lag was not too bad. I went back to work a couple days later. I took the next day off, and then the next day I teleworked because I still had that bronchial thing. So I was coughing really bad, that mucus. But I'm getting much better now. That thing lingers. So some general overarching thoughts. I think, well, I don't think, I know